Hello everyone, Brad here with StartRestoringHeadlights.com, and welcome back to another video. Obviously today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to take you guys to work with me. I'm going to show you kind of my day and kind of show you my complete process. Give you guys kind of a little insight on what it's like being the owner of a headlight restoration business, so you can kind of get some insight, you know, see if it's something that you want to do. So I just got my coffee. That's the first thing I start with. I usually head to Starbucks before my jobs. I start around 8:30. First appointment is between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. I try to get them done as early as possible when there's still a lot of daylight out, because I think I've said it in a few different videos before, I do not want to be out in the 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock area because it is very, very hot. One thing that I did want to let you guys know that it's very easy to forget is making sure that you are checking on the weather daily. Checking on it before you go to bed, checking on it when you wake up, just to make sure that you don't have any rain coming in. I am in Florida and lived here all my life, and I could say that the weather can be kind of weird sometimes. Rain can just come in out of nowhere. Luckily, it usually stays for, you know, 10-15 minutes at the most. It's fairly quick, so if it does rain, I don't really have to worry about it. So first customer, as I said, between 8:30 and 9. It's 8 o'clock right now, so I usually send the text at 8 o'clock just to say, hey, good morning, it's Brad, just wanted to let you know I'll be there between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. I always recommend, in this kind of business, if you're offering like a service, like a mobile service or something, I always recommend that you tell the customer you're going to be there in a time increment, like a 30-minute increment or even an hour increment, because there's a lot of variables that could come up, like traffic. You can have car problems, you can get pulled over, or in my case, I like to get coffee in the morning. Not that it's really going to affect anything because it only takes me a few minutes, but it is something to take in consideration, because the last thing you want to do is text the customer and say, hey, I'm running late, I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, you can patch it up, but I mean, you could very, very easily prevent that. Because I've learned in this business in my previous jobs, because I was like a consultant at a very high-end dealership, and it was, you kind of learn that customer service, the bar is set extremely low, guys. It's set extremely low. Like, looking at my reviews and everything, and even just customer interaction, I've learned that even just a simple good morning, good afternoon text to the customer, whatever, whether it be like a confirmation or something, goes miles. Because, and I've said this in other videos, being in the Facebook groups and everything, I can't even tell you how many times I see people complaining about businesses that they've reached out to that didn't text them back, or didn't call them back, or didn't even show up to the job after it was already booked and everything. So I have my work cut out for me when it comes to customer service. It's so easy to provide perfect customer service. It's like, you have to be a real a-hole not to be able to provide, or just careless not to be able to provide good customer service. Because to a lot of customers, a follow-up text or something goes an extremely long way. So you have to understand, like, whenever you're, like, let's say you order a pizza or something, you know how they have like the pizza tracker, you can track where they're at and all that. Obviously I don't do that with my customers, but it's kind of like that. I let them know, you know, the day prior I'll say, hey, blah blah blah, just wanted to let you know your appointment is scheduled for tomorrow morning between 8:30 and 9. I will text you when I'm on the way. Like that right there, that confirmation, that reassurance that, hey, this guy didn't forget about me, is like spot on. Like, that's top tier customer service in today's day and age, because customer service is so crappy these days that something like that could go an extreme long way. So I'll text them the day prior, say, hey, you know, well, let me rewind a little bit. Whenever I schedule the appointment, I tell the customer, I say, before I'm hanging up with them, I say, hey, is this a good number to text you at? And they always say yes. And I'll say, okay, I'll text you a confirmation here in just a moment. That way, if you have any scheduling conflicts, you can just shoot me a text there. because I want to make it as easy as possible for them to engage in my services. So if they have something come up, they could just look at the recent text and just say, hey, Brad, I'm sorry, I had something come up, can we reschedule? That way they don't have to call or worry about it or anything. It's just a quick and easy text. So I'll say, hey, I'll shoot you a text confirmation once we hang up. That way if you have any scheduling issues, you can let me know there. And that's just a template. Like, I have it in the notes, so I literally just copy and paste and it's done. Very, very simple, very easy thing that you could add to the whole entire experience for the customer to make it like really, really good. And as I just said, I'll text the customer, say, hey, just so you're aware, you know, or good morning. I always start with like a good, whatever time it is, good morning or good afternoon or whatever. I'll say good morning, just wanted to let you know I will be there between 8:30 and 9, and then that's it. And usually they text me back. This is a really good way for you to kind of confirm with the customer as well that they're like awake. Because I've had cases where I would show up to a customer's residence, you know, come to the job, and they don't answer their phone, they don't answer text. This doesn't happen very often, and I think somebody actually asked me about that not that long ago in the comments section. Would I consider charging a deposit fee for customers that flake? And it's really hard for me to consider doing that, because to me it's just another headache, or just another, not a headache, it's just another step in the process. And I'm pretty local, you know. If it's a customer that's like way out, you know, I'm traveling quite a bit, you know, I would consider it. But since I'm so close, you know, within my area, I don't really mind. Like, obviously I mind, but I don't really care to where I will call them out on it, or I will charge them a deposit or something. Because look at it like this: let's say a customer doesn't answer or completely ghosts you, and you collect the money from them. You know, you just collected money from somebody for absolutely nothing. I mean, yeah, you can say, oh, I collected it for them wasting my time, but like, if you go to the job, yes, I understand they're wasting your time, but to me it's not really feasible, and it's kind of dishonest. I don't want to take people's money without giving them, you know, a service or something. So maybe in the future I might implement doing a deposit to book the appointment, or a booking fee or something, but for the time being I'm probably not going to consider it. It doesn't happen enough for me to do that. Like, it's not, if it starts like costing me money, then yeah, I would consider it. We have 4 on the docket today, potentially 5. I had a customer contact me on the way to get my coffee, and I'm contemplating if I want to do that one, because I could just schedule it for sometime later in the week. But it's one of those situations where, you know, I got 4 today, and I don't want to be out all day, especially in the heat. So potentially 5, but we are definitely doing 4. So let's go to the customer and get this job done. Alright guys, just arrived at the first customer's house. We got a black Infinity here, a little bit of micro cracking, clear coat still intact. Oh, looks like we got some water on the inside. I thought that was on the outside, but we got some micro cracking right here, a little bit on this side. So what we'll do is start with the 400. I don't think that clear coat's really intact. It might look like it is, but it's a pretty old car, so it'll probably be very easy. But let's do it. All right, everyone, so here's the finished product. So as I said, I thought that was morning dew, but it wasn't. It's actually water on the inside, so that means that there's a broken seal somewhere. You can see it's causing a little bit of haze on the inside. It's not perfect, but as you saw in the before, it is significantly better. This side still has that micro cracking at the top, but overall much better. So customer's gonna be happy regardless. But so we are on to the next one. We finished the Infinity. We are headed to a customer with some sort of Jeep. I didn't ask her exactly what kind of Jeep it was, whether it was like the Jeep Compass or the Wrangler, but regardless of the fact, I'm ready for whatever it might be. That customer was really happy with the result. I did explain to her the whole water situation. She said it comes and goes. I honest to God thought it was condensation or just water, like morning dew on the top. So that's something we can learn together, guys. Make sure that you wipe the lens beforehand, just so you can make sure that you know what you're dealing with. Because I'm really good on trying to set the expectation for the customer before I do the restoration. 9 times out of 10, they're like shocked that I even got it as clean as it is. But there's still that 1 out of 10 customer that might be a little picky and be like, oh, well, what's this little micro crack or something, or what's this and what's that. So that's why it's really important to always make sure that you set the expectation, do your inspection beforehand. That way you kind of let the customer know if there's any issues or anything before you finish. So customer was good to go on that one. It took roughly about 33 minutes from start to finish. The way I check my times is whenever I get there, I text the customer and say I'm here, and then I have to wait for them to come out. And then whenever I'm complete, I text them and say all set. And at that point, I have to wait for them to come out. So the time frame is between the time that I get there and the time that I finish and send that all set text. It doesn't include how long it takes for me to talk to the customer, do the payment and everything. Some customers, primarily my older customers, they love to talk. They love to talk about cars and all sorts of things. And I'm a petrol head, so you know, sometimes I'll go to a customer's house and they'll have like an older muscle car or something in the garage, and we'll be talking, and you know, next thing you know, you're there for an extra 15-20 minutes. So definitely keep in mind on the time frame as well if you are scheduling multiple in one day. But we're on to the next. Let's do it. All right, guys, just arrived to the next job. That Jeep, it is a Laredo. We got some pretty severe oxidation here. You can actually feel it. Some scratches, a little bit of micro cracking right here. Nothing that we can't handle. A little bit of micro cracking right there. So definitely be able to get a good result with this one. I could just, based on what I'm feeling, I'm gonna start with the 320. It's gonna get all of the stuff removed, and then I'll finish with the 600. So let's do it. as you can see in my face, it's getting a little bit later. It's really only 10:15, but heard it from the customer. That's the first time I've ever actually caught a customer's reaction. They wanted to sit out there and watch the process. I actually asked them if they wanted to sit out and watch it because it was oddly satisfying, and you heard it straight from them. They were very, very happy with it, which always makes me feel good to have that good reaction. So that customer is super, super satisfied. What I'll do is send them the link to my Google review page, and they'll leave the review, which leads me to giving you guys another kind of little gem or piece of advice. You want to make it as easy as possible for a customer to leave you a review. You don't want them to have to go to Google, type in your business, find the write a review link. You want to make it as simple as possible. So you could go to your Google business profile. Whenever you're under the management page, it'll say get more reviews. You'll click that and it'll give you a link to share with your customers or your clients. So what you can do is copy that, keep it in your notes in your phone, and you can just send your customer a template. My template says, hey, whatever, thank you so much for the business. If you could please leave us a Google review, it really helps us small business. You gotta put that in their mindset and make sure that they know that they're contributing to a local small business, not a huge corporation. So I'll send that, and I'll also put the link at the very bottom so that they can just click it. When they click the link, it'll go directly to your page, your profile, your Google profile, and it'll pop up with the 5 reviews or the 5 stars, and they can click the 5-star, and it even has a little section where they can write kind of a little paragraph on their thoughts and everything. So make it as easy as possible, guys. People are lazy. They don't want to have to do all this stuff just to leave a review. So that's a very, very good thing to start getting the habit of doing, because when I first started, I did that. I just said, hey, if you could leave me a Google review when you can, and I didn't get the result I wanted. So it wasn't until after I had learned through that method to make sure you make it as easy as possible, that's when almost every other customer started leaving me reviews. I mean, granted, I still don't get every single customer that I do their review. Sometimes, you know, people just flat out won't do it. You know, they forget, which is usually the one. So I think I'm approaching like 100, or I think I'm at like 90 or something. I should know it. I apologize. I should know how many I have right now. But as I said, Google is really weird with the reviews. Like, I just had a review posted not that long ago they left me a review, and the customer left the review like months prior. So I'm sure that there's some sort of vetting process or something to make sure it's legit from Google, because I'll get an email saying, hey, this so-and-so left you a review, and I won't see it on the page until like X amount of time later. It could be weeks, could be days, could be months. It's really, really weird. So keep that in mind when you guys are sending your information or your link to the customer. It may not arrive immediately, so don't bombard the customer and say, hey, did you leave that review? You want to let them do it on their own time, because, you know, don't get distracted with that. I mean, as you build more clientele, you just send the link and on to the next, and if they leave it, they leave it. If they don't, then no harm done or anything. So on to the third one. This is the Saturn Vue. This one should be fairly easy. It should just be a thin layer of oxidation, so I should be in and out in less than maybe like 20 minutes. That one took me, I think it was 25 minutes from start to finish, meaning when I got there to when I left. So it was fairly quick. This customer, I'm hoping to get home before probably 11, maybe 11:30, 12 o'clock. So I have this one, and then I have one more. I got the 4th one. So that one is an Acura TL. Very, very, very easy one. It's just that strip. I think it's like a 2010 Acura TL, so that one should be very, very quick. On to the next. Alright, so I just tried calling the Saturn Vue customer about 3 different times and no answer. So I went ahead and texted the Acura TL customer. I said, hey, one of my customers isn't responding, so I'm going to have to reschedule them. Are you okay if I come earlier? Because they were scheduled for a little bit later. And they said, yeah, it's perfectly fine. So instead of the Saturn Vue, we're going to head to the Acura TL customer, get that one knocked out, and hopefully by then, the Saturn Vue customer will call back I wasn't able to leave a message because the voicemail was full, but if he calls back, we'll swing by and do it after the Acura TL customer. If not, then I'm gonna schedule him for a different day. So just the many hiccups, not even many, just the few hiccups that I deal with in this business. So let's get to the Acura TL customer, get that knocked out, and see what the plan is after that. All right, guys, just arrived at the Acura TL, and this one is really, really bad. Very, very hazy. You can actually see some of the actual headlight on the inside pane coming off right there. So I explained to the customer I wasn't able to remove that. This side, same thing, super, super yellow. You can see, as I said, you'll develop the eye over time, but you can see that right there, that little mark is on the inside. Got a little bit of micro cracking, and right there as well, you can see it's on the inside. So again, Acura TL, you know, Acura Honda brand, same thing. They always have that little haze over here on the top. So regardless of the fact, it'll look much, much better. So let's do it. My mask. Alright guys, so here's the finished result. You can see right here, as I said in the intro, you can see the inside pane of the headlight coming off. Get a little bit of haziness right here. And this one's much, much worse. So these are the kind of jobs that people that are like other headlight restorers, they don't show you. They only show you like the good. They never show you the bad and the ugly. Situations like these. So I want to be as transparent with you guys as I can. if you are venturing into this business, that not every single headlight can be restored to perfection, and you're going to take some losses. But the good thing about it is that the losses aren't really significant. They're not going to impact you or anything. Situations like these, unfortunately, it doesn't come out perfect, but it looks much better. And while I was actually doing the time lapse, the customer had come over to me and said that it was, now that he thought about it, it was getting much harder to see at night, and it actually caused him to hit a curb. So safety number one, make sure you can see. But other than that, it came out, I mean, it will have a whole lot more light escaping out of the lens, even with all the imperfections on the inside. So it's not like it was a waste of money getting them restored. Whew. Even though I was in the shade, that one still got pretty hot. As you can see, as I said, as the day goes on, more jobs, my face gets redder and redder. So that one didn't come out like I wanted it to. It had some pretty severe haziness on the inside. Like I said, nobody really shows that online. You don't really see that too often. So I want to show you guys every aspect of this business. You know, good, bad, you know, angry customer, why they might be angry, anything that's going to help you solve any issues in your venture if you are pursuing this. If you're just here for the entertainment, you just like the oddly satisfying headlight restoration, I appreciate you. But this customer was happy with it, regardless of the fact he'll still see much better at night. I checked my messages, checked my missed calls. That customer did not call me back, so it's safe to assume that they flaked on me. He was an older customer, so it's 11:22 right now, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, if he calls back, then I'm just going to reschedule him. I'm not going to venture out and do it, because I'm the type, I like to, once I'm done, I'm kind of done. You know, I like to go home and change and shower if I need to, because with it being so humid, you get really sweaty, so I don't want to have to be in and out. But customer did flake, so he'll probably end up calling back at some point, and we'll get them rescheduled. So it wasn't a bad day. We had 3 jobs in roughly 3 hours, and made some decent money. I mean, it's I have the whole rest of the day, whereas some people are going to be working till 5 o'clock. You know, so I am truly blessed to be in this kind of situation where I can make money in the morning and then have the rest of the day to do whatever other projects or every other ventures that I'm doing. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate every subscriber, every view. Any questions about the business that you might have, by all means, please ask them, because I want to eliminate any doubts or anything that's kind of on your mind about this business, because it's not a popular business. Not many people are doing just headlight restoration, and some of the people that are doing just headlight restoration, they have to add something else, because they have to do something else like detailing or things like that, or vice versa. They're doing detailing and then offer headlight restoration, but they're not solely doing headlight restoration because their marketing might be on the weaker side. Whenever you're driving and you're seeing every other car needing headlight restoration, you should confidently be able to say, I could do this full time. There is enough business to do this full time. And even to the point where you have to hire somebody and create like a fleet of vehicles. It really comes down to how well you're marketing yourself and how well you're putting yourself out there. And it's not something that's gonna happen overnight, and that's really with any business. But I could say that with this business, it's not nearly as labor intensive as other businesses. Like, yeah, I might be making like $90 a job, but I'm only spending 20-30 minutes of my time doing it. So you have to ask yourself, you know, whether you're doing detailing or whether you're using different methods or whatever, ultimately, how many jobs can you do in a day, and how long are you spending at that job? And this is one reason why I wanted to pursue this job or this business, because one, there's not that many people doing it. So the market is up for grabs. Whenever you're finished with this video, or even right now, pause the video, go to Google and just type in headlight restoration near me and see if there's anybody even in the area doing doing this business. And if they're not, that's a sure tell sign to get into it. And if they are, screw it, man. Take them on. Take them on. Treat that as a friendly competition. And even then, don't be intimidated at that, because I said it in the previous video. There is more than enough business to go around, even for having a few different businesses. I mean, in my area, detailing is a dime a dozen. I mean, dime a dozen. And people are still doing it full time. So it really comes down to how bad you want it and how much work you're willing to put in to really get your name out there and really grind it. Because honestly, it's such a nice business to have, because you don't have many issues. You don't have, your customers are always satisfied. Very rarely will you have unsatisfied customers, and there's no like huge accidents that can happen. I mean, you could break, at most I could break a headlight, but unless I'm like beating the crap out of the headlight, it's not gonna break. I mean, guys, these things are made out of polycarbonate. It's a very strong material, and they're not gonna put something that's at the very front of the car that's gonna get the worst of it in the front. They're not gonna make it out of a weak material. So the odds of you breaking a headlight, unless you're extremely reckless, yeah, you could have some issues with that. But I'm confident you guys wouldn't, for those who are venturing into this business, I'm confident you wouldn't be that reckless. But as I said, there's no issues like either a broken headlight, which never happens, or you could be careless with your sanding and sand the paint. And even then, whether you're going with my method or a different method, it's an easy fix. It's not like a really bad fix, unless you're using like 8,000 RPM sander and you're using 320 and you brush up on the car. Yeah, that's going to eat through it very quickly, even down to the metal in some cases, depending on how long it's on there. So very low risk, very low overhead. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. So thank you guys again so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one.